put us in the right place. Holy One, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of community. Thy will be done, Lord, not ours. Amen.
Amen.
So, we're going to, Vicki, did you count the people? You got the number of people? Can we get a hand for those that are members of the church? Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. The record showed 20 members are present, so we meet the quorum. Oh yeah, and we have French toast 21. What we have to do first is approve the agenda. Does anybody have an issue, a question, a comment, or move to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Move to, can I get a second? Second. Shayla, all in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Then we're going to go to the approval of the minutes of 2022. That doesn't say vote here, Jim, but we have to vote on that, right? Yeah. So it's on your packet. It's on the next page. And I've read it, and other people have. But does anybody see anything that you want to ask about or find fault with? Otherwise, we could use a motion to accept.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Financial business, James. So let me get out here. Maybe you cruise around that side. Thank you. You're good, Bridget. You don't have to move. You got it. Don't worry.
Here comes entertainment. Start without me.
Here comes the good stuff. Oh yeah, thanks.
Not that great up in front of people, but I'll do the best I can. As you know, in the past, I've said this too, that when I took over this position, I don't have experience as an accountant or a bookkeeper other than I ran a business for over 20 years and I didn't go bankrupt, so I think I handled money okay. And I like numbers, but I rely heavily on Gerald. So when you get a chance to see her, that's why I mentioned earlier that she isn't going to be here today. This past month has been easier for her, and with kind of illness, she hasn't been the healthiest, and yet she came in several times and did things. And I was floored last night at the dinner, my phone banged and I get a message and it's from Geraldine sending me a couple notes for the meeting today. I don't know, but she did a lot of the work here. So I try to keep everything simple, really. I know it's pages and pages of documents, it seems like, but you know, we really try to keep it very simple for people to understand. I think we have good news. I think financially we're pretty sound, actually. And as a council, I applaud everybody. The budget that we set last year, when we get to the budget page, we came under. You know, we budgeted for $66,000, and our actual expenses were only $62,000. Now, a lot of that is because of all you guys, you know, the time and the talent and money in some places that people have given here to allow us not to have any more exceeding expenses than we need. You know, we're a very small church, you haven't noticed, but we've got a very good group of people here. But it's a lot to ask sometimes to give and give more. So I'm not going to go, you know, line to line things through, but the offering summary shows that we had 8 more donors. They're like, I call them units or something, you know, people that just maybe come in and give money. And people stepped up and gave more, it seemed like, in larger quantities. Our Green Wealth Management, our investment fund is up. I hope everybody that's in the stock market knows things have been going good this year. It's about $400,000. In fact, this is through December, and I just looked today at February 1st, and it was over 400,000, so it's still going up a little bit. Remember that over the last 4 years, it's been up, down, up, or down, you know, whichever. We're up now, but we're kind of back to where we were, sort of, back close to 2021, end of 2021. But we're not draining our fund, so that's really good. All the giving again really has allowed us in the missions category. That isn't budgeted. That's, at times we ask for certain mission giving. We have people that send money in and either designate or don't designate where it should go, but they say missions. So we have these different categories that we've done, and we gave a total of over $10,000 this year. A big hunk of it went to Teamwork Africa for the world missions. But also, that part of it, that 5,000 was not total out of the church fund. We did a fundraising dinner, and that night and in subsequent weeks, we were given more than $4,000 of that 5,000. So we can always do those kinds of things, fundraisers, and as we go on, we might need to be asking for things like that. If we go to the profit and loss, you know, you can go through line by line, I don't want to do that, but the big numbers, you know, the total offerings we got was 64,788. At the end, the expenses 62,056. That's good. There were a couple areas, like in last meeting, if you remember, there was a motion made to amend the budget for a couple things that we knew we were doing. And one is at the end, the water softener repair. So instead of putting it under a maintenance category, I stuck it under water softener because in the past we've had Culligan, and there was these every 6 weeks or whatever charges. We won't have that anymore. We have one big charge to fix the water heater, install a water heater, or water softener, and now it's just a matter of put some salt in it from time to time. So that monthly, or however often it happens, will be minimal. There was maintenance though of a furnace repair, and then we did some bathroom work, and library shelves went under equipment. But again, people gave specifically, made a donation for the library or for the bathroom repair. So it kept our total expense really down. The balance sheet, you know, it says the total, like the checking account was $10,000 at the end of December. We've already had a very big donation in the first month or 2 of the year, and our checking account right now today is $17,000. So it's solid right now. The mission categories, I just want to say again about the missions. A couple of years ago, as a council, we made the decision to get a large donation from somebody, and they say it's for missions. It's like, well, how do we designate where it goes? And so if you have the sheet, you can see there's a percentage after each one of these: local missions, UCC, Metro State, World. At the time, we thought, well, we're going to give a lot to But that number has gotten really big, and then the other categories are not. So we're gonna be looking as a council at maybe adjusting those percentages. And we could use your input on if you have particular missions you'd like to see us do. And as a church, we probably need to decide how we go forward with Teamwork Africa as a world mission, or others, you know, that could be big. The budget. We made a call as a council here, based on what we did last year, and doing so well of keeping our expenses to where our budget and income is. This is gonna be a year of change, and there's a lot of unknowns, and especially at the time we put the budget together, we didn't even know some of the things we know now. But we had to do something, so we made the budget very similar to last year, really. We're looking for income of about $65,000 and keeping our expenses just under $65,000. Now, there was some changing in certain amounts in certain categories, but it's pretty much the same. But obviously, the big one is in the staffing with the replacement for Bridget's retirement, and people have again donated. Gretchen and piano today, learning an organ or playing a piano. We haven't hired an organist, and so and they haven't asked to be paid, and we should decide whether we need to do that or not. So we do have some money budgeted for organist, but we kept the pastor's salary the same because we're gonna pay her for like 3 months, and then from April on, it's an unknown. But at the beginning, I think it'll be a lot of, what do you call it, substitute, but public supply, you know, people coming in on a Sunday to Sunday basis, and we won't be paying huge salaries for that, I don't think. And then as soon, we'll find out. And then
He's already lobbying for the right price.
well, we got really lucky with Bridget, is my understanding. I wasn't here when she was called. She's the reason I came here. Miss her. So that did it for me.
Thank you, Jim.
Any questions?
Okay,
We need a motion to approve.
oh yeah,
We had to-
right, we need a motion to approve the budget.
I make that motion, Vicky.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Good job, Preston, good job. And Jim tells you every time that you know, he's not a financial guy, but I gotta tell you, he is a financial guy. I represent the devil sometimes. But we get through it, we work it out. We now have the pastor's report. Yeah.
Your turn.
Oh, yeah.
You can read it right from there, or come up here, whatever you wanna do. Okay.
I think the biggest thing that we did that I know some people wanted to do and we've been doing it is the Bible study. Now we kind of cut it at middle of September, October, somewhere in that range. Because I'm trying not to drive myself any place in the dark, because all those lights just are tough. So anyway, we also had a request that we vary the scriptures we're using. We went through a lot of the, where is it here? Which one? Oh, Acts, yeah, Acts goes on forever and ever. And why do we have to do all this? I'm with you on that. But the Acts of the Disciples is the same author as Luke's Gospel. And it talks about what happened with the early folks that were following Jesus after he died. So, but I think we're done with Acts now, so anyway, we'll be getting started with something else soon. And one of the good things about the Bible study is that some of the people come and they've already looked up this and that makes it really interesting. We have other times we just look at what's in the hymnal, or I mean, you can find stuff all over the place. And so I hope that you'll join us for that. Let's look. What else am I supposed to talk about?
Culture responsive dinners and,
Yeah, Lanny's been doing those. We had so much fun last night with Chile. I can't say it that way because I'm not used to it. But Lanny has another one in the works. I don't remember where.
It may be Paraguay and it may be Bangladesh, so I have to, look at schedules and talk to people.
Yeah, and we're finding people who are from those areas and can talk about what they went through and, how it compares the United States to where they were from, and so that's all good. I had this,
yeah, I got it here if you want.
well, I know it's in here because I looked at it, but are there any questions about anything? I did give my notice that my last time as preacher will be at the end of we have Easter Sunday, and then it'll either be that or probably the following week, because Easter Sunday is kind of special, and
So are you.
well, every time I say I think I'm going to retire, and then I change my mind because I really don't want to retire. But the last doctor I went to see said they call me early dementia because I can't remember some things, and I get screwed up in putting some stuff together, but they don't have any idea why that would be, or and so if it just stays like this for 20 years or so, that would be just great. Then I can see all my grandchildren grow up. But it's distracting, and it's not that people are not helping. People are helping a lot, but it would be, I think, better to find someone who would be able to stay for a while, and then you can find other ways of going forward as a church, because the church has gone through so much change. When I interviewed for this, they said, "How are you going to make the church bigger? How are you going to get kids here?" I said, "I don't know. I don't have a plan for that, because the point is not how many people can you count, it's what can we do that will, further, what we believe the gospel is asking us to do, and what, you know, brings more, life and goodness to the places we live, which are mostly in this area. And, so we do have more people. Most of the people who were here have left. There's a few, like Dave and Betty and, Deanna and, Chuck and, all those other folks who are sitting back there, whose names have suddenly disappeared. Can you believe it? I mean, Hal's there, they come back, but just randomly. Charlie's there, and Ann, and they all bring so much to the congregation as a whole. And so far, we've managed not to get into any fights. That bathroom was a little iffy.
No big.
So, is that enough?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
good.
great. Thanks, Bridget.
Judy, you've got a couple here, cemetery report and, worship committee report. You wanna do it from where you're at, or you wanna come up here? Yeah, microphone will help you.
Committee consists of Chuck and also Lawrence and myself, and the pastor always attended our meetings. We don't have a lot of meetings. We had one this last year. And the year before, we had approached the council to raise the price of the graves to $500 from $100. They hadn't been raised, I don't think, since the church was built. That was approved, and we sold 9. They wanted us to wait till the annual meeting last year to see how many people would buy them at $100, and we sold 9 graves. The map is not up to date. It has got 4 people purchased. I'm hoping now to get a new map made this year. We approached the council for other changes, and we were hoping for some money to be put in the perpetual fund, and that has been turned down. Could be an ongoing discussion though. It's a thing of mine, but our committee also wanted that.
Could you explain that fund a little bit?
A perpetual fund is money put aside for the care of the cemetery when and if the church would dissolve. And no money has been put in there for a long time. And it was my understanding that the church would be putting something in there. But at this point, the council is, what?
What is the current balance?
The current balance, oh boy, I didn't bring that up here. I got it in my
It's in the report, it's,
53,000.
52,000 something.
Yeah. And there hasn't been anything, I went back in the annual reports and there hadn't been anything added for a long time, except for if a grave was purchased. Also, we asked that some changes would be made as far as with the cremation being involved, that we would have each grave, you know, a grave, would have one body and could be 2 cremations in that same body, or in that same grave. The stone, be 1 stone, standing stone, front and back could be used, and 1 flat stone. That's for being able to cut out there and keep it clean. As far as caring for the graves, it's basically from our people that cut our grass, which is expensive. I think it was $2,400 this year. We don't pay for grass cutting here around the church. That's always been done by volunteers, but out there, That's the cost. You'll find that in your annual report. We would like also that anyone purchasing graves in the future, and this, it just make it easier. We don't always get the paperwork done because we don't get told if a grave has been sold. We'd like to see the person that's buying the graves come to the committee first, do our paperwork, and then give the money to our financer person, and they deposit it where it belongs. That, on a purchase of a grave, that will go into the cemetery fund. We also started this year, any questions on that? Or the worship committee was started this fall, Pastor requested that. We have Deanne Becker, Gretchen, Annie Brown, Orly, and myself and Pastor have been on that committee. We've actually only met once, and basically that was at the start of Advent, and was also for All Saints Day. And we decided what to do for those things. Lent hasn't been really discussed too much. Pastor hasn't asked for a lot of help, but it's being worked on. And like what's been noted, Margaret retired, so that we've thankfully had 2 volunteers to be playing. Also, in November of 22, a church calling list was started, and that can be used for prayers if there's health concerns, or basically we started that year that it was such a bad snow that we could call people quickly and let them know not to come because of bad weather. But it can be used for prayers too, for serious things, people in the hospital and such. If that's the case, then get a hold of me. And I started with my committee, which is Laura, Vicki, and Deanna. And either call me, or, and it's been also to call Pastor, and she'll get a hold of me, and I'll call the rest of them. Any other questions? That's it.
Thank you, Judy.
Thank you, Judy. The 5-year plan report, now, if you don't know, and most of you probably do, we have a rolling 5-year plan in this church that you'll find some things that are on there continually, even though we've done them, for example, when we do like the dinners last night, that stays on there because we're committed to continue to do that. But we do it on an ongoing basis every couple of months. So if you don't have that, it's not a big deal. We have a copy if you need it. But what I want to do is try to go over what we accomplished this year as a church. We have accomplished, okay? And I want to give you an example of how that works in this little church. First of all, the first thing on the list, as we mentioned a couple of times, is the library that we have. That took books to be donated, a design for the space, purchased the shelves, and I think we had to deal with a return on some of it as well. And then we had to have cataloging of the books. That required 4 to 5 to 6 people to do that stuff. That's how this works here, and that's the beauty of it. So we can always, I'd love to name everybody, but I could just look at you probably and go like that, and everybody's done so much. So I'm just going to talk about what we've accomplished as a group. So the library is new, restroom updates, new sinks, toilets, grab bars, and my personal favorite, a non-taped urinal. And so we had several people involved in that as making those things happen as well. Concrete repairs on the south side steps and the north door sidewalk was actually raised, yeah. The fellowship hall got new lighting, LED lamps that'll last for a while, and the worship committee was started, and you've already heard they're well on their way. Welcome cards. I love to bring that up because that's been going on for a while now. We've actually got them printed through help. We've got them sent to the office with help, and we had them pursued when we couldn't find them. So we've had a lot of people involved in that as well. We've had 3 furnaces, if you count December of 22. that two of them were replaced and one of them was, one of them was replaced and two of them were repaired. And those things were very expensive and, you know, due to the help of the people that were involved, that expense was cut greatly. Jim's already talked about, you know, this little church donated $10,000 worth of stuff to other people in need. I find that jumps off the wall. And that includes, you know, adequate, healthy, and clear water for people in Liberia. It includes clothes and things that they said they need. Something we sent 7 boxes over there. And my personal favorite in those 7 boxes was suggested they love peanut butter. And I don't know why that is. They didn't explain it, but there's peanut butter in there too. We started a Facebook page. You know, we are not the most IT-oriented church, but we have got that started. It's we had a lot of problems prior where we had a couple of different pages, and we finally got help with one of our members and to fix that, and it's still currently working. And it's available to put anything on there, any message of any kind by a member that wants to put that on there. We can show you how to do it. It's pretty easy. And then we also have, Jim has made sure we get the sermon videos updated on our website. And I think we're working on, if we haven't finished, and we're getting that robot, what do you call it? The thing that
Drone video.
the video of this beautiful church taken by a drone. And it's really interesting video. It looks great. And then I added a couple things at the end that aren't on your list. One, I put down Margaret. You know, she was here for so many years and did such a great job. We had a hiccup or two, but people have stepped up there. We now have recorded music, played piano, played organ. You know, people have just not let that be a problem. So we're still always looking for more. Yeah, we've had other people involved, a lot of people involved in it. And then I think we had a Native American event during the summer that we gave voice to the school, the abuse, and the abuse of people in general. And it was a great event, and it was advertised in the community, and you know, we try to make sure we stay involved in social justice once or twice a year if we can. So we're always looking for ideas and input. So that's off the 5-year plan. Unless it's an ongoing item, it's off of there. And we still have, obviously, more things to do, but it was a very successful year. Jim told you how financially successful it was, and we still were able to do what we did and get those kinds of accomplishments. So I think that's pretty cool. So the next thing, yes, sir.
Not to back up but a little bit, but if you look on the balance sheet, you can see what the current balance is on the cemetery fund. $52,335. So if anybody was interested in what the balance.
Okay, and let me just make one more comment about that, because you know, we had a lot of discussion about that in the council, and it was a close vote, but if this church dissolves in any way, that most of that money is going to be put in there, and every one of the columns that Jim has, we don't have a separate fund for anything. It all goes in the same place to earn maximum amount of interest, so that even though it doesn't show in the fund, and that's going to be an on discussion how we do that, but to make it a separate fund to earn money in a different way at a different rate, it doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense to the people that voted on it, so that's why that happened that way. And if you have any further questions, we can try to address them. But at this point, it seems to make the most sense to put our money in one place, earn as much as we can. That is obviously a significant event, and we're never, you know, that's my forever home. So I'm going to fight like crazy to make sure it gets plenty. But it's not right now. It has a separate fund. You could get one for maybe 5% or 5.5 if you're lucky, but it's not going to earn as much as it does right now in the general fund. But that was our decision. So If there's any questions about that, let us know, okay? So now we're gonna talk about a council all you members that wanna stick your hand up and be on the council, this is your opportunity now. We have terms expiring of myself, Judy, and we have one other council member that resigned, so we have 1 year left on that term. So we're gonna need 3 council members, 1 for 1 year, 2 for 2 years. So what we would wanna do now is find out if we have anybody in the audience, because we could have some people on the council who will return, but first we wanna find out how many people sitting here today have an interest in joining the council. Okay, you wanna stand up and introduce yourself and all that stuff?
I'm Kevin. I'm the son of Eugene and Lorraine Hand. Sorry, I belonged to this church as a child. I love this church. I believe everything that is being done here is good, and strong. I love it being around all of you, and I truly want to be a part of this again. I see the strength here. I see God. I see a great pasture and my friends from the past. The readers, my family go back to a time when life was a lot simpler. And the truth of the matter is, I remember sliding as a child with the Reader Boys. And the bridge across the street. I lived at 308 River Street. We used to walk to church. It's beautiful. Some Sunday days, you can't turn the clock back, but sometimes you wish you could. But it's a beautiful church, and I want to be a part of it. And I hope you all understand why. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Meg. I'm not a member though. My membership is in my home church. I'm also on a council at another church, but if it can be, then I will take a spot on council.
So that, I guess what's up for discussion is how she could be a member here as well. Cause, yes, sir.
I think it's, you have to be a member of the Constitution.
You do, yeah. You do have to be a member. But my question is,
You serve John.
if she can become a member. That would be the only way, and I don't know how that works since you're a member of another church.
I don't know.
I'm Catholic a long time, so all I know is we just went wherever we wanted to go and never had any. Yes, ma'am?
Dual citizenship?
Well, that's a question that can be answered by her better than us.
Yeah, she can ask around.
And okay.
Does this church have any problem with somebody having dual citizenship, dual membership?
I don't have an answer for that.
So the UCC church, I'm not, not a traitor.
Oh, it's not a UCC
The other
church.
church is a UCC church
Yeah.
too? And there'd be no problem with her being a member here also.
Yeah. What about putting her up for election before she's a member?
Can't do it.
Can't do it until you are a member, okay.
Do you have to be a member of this church, or do you have to be a member of
Of this church.
This church,
Of this church.
according to the Constitution we have, yeah. Which, by the way, that's one of the things we've had on our 5-year plan for the last few years, and it needs to be updated occasionally, at least reviewed. We have to do that, and we'll be doing that this year.
I support you, yeah,
This is-
coming in, just so you understand.
Yeah.
This is good, but where is that?
I'm sorry?
Where would one find that document?
I have a copy of it here.
There's usually copies.
It's in my brief.
We can come up
I
with.
missed
Okay.
that part.
All right,
Alan gets you a copy of
that's
it.
fine.
And I don't think there's anything that prohibits you from being members of another church and this church, I don't think.
In the past, Hal,
Yeah.
has there ever been a time when there haven't been able to find 5 people for a
No.
council?
No, they always.
Could we ever have 4, or,
No.
because it's in the bylaws that it's supposed to be 5?
Yeah, doesn't give
Well,
any
even
leeway.
at the, years ago when we had full-time minister, then the minister was appointed as one of the voting members.
Even
Yeah.
as one of the voting members.
The
Constitution says they're not now. They're ex officio. Yeah.
So if we don't get 5 in this meeting, I would say, starting this afternoon, we're gonna be after Meg.
We're gonna have, yeah.
Be after you to join.
I'm not.
Well, your term is up.
My term is up, Judy's is up.
Do you wanna
We
do-
haven't heard from you.
Well, I'm gonna make sure I'm considering, but only if we don't have other people, that's all.
Look at this.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, there is an order for reception of new members on page 44 in the hymnals. And as I recall, I was here, I went through this, it was
Is that something we can do on the spot?
right now,
That's what she
it's
suggested.
like not very long.
I don't know, I don't have the answer to that,
It's-
Bridget, do you?
I'm
or
just
Alan, do
saying.
It certainly could be done right now.
Let's hear from you and Judy first.
It's not.
you? Well, you know, if Meg is interested,
Yeah, you
I'm
can-
willing to
at-
step
at
aside,
This
but,
meeting, we could induct.
we have
you as a
2
member.
Induct me.
we have 2 spots of 2 years and one of, 1 year.
Open.
That are open, so if Kevin were elected and Judy and I stayed, we wouldn't need anybody else. But Judy and I both have talked about if somebody else wants it, that, you know, it should be shared, it should be different people and stuff, so. I don't know whether we wanna make, cause it's still gonna be a vote between whoever wants to, right, so. If we install her right at the moment, then she can be up for election, he'll be up for election, and either one of us or both decide to stay, we're up for election. Then we just have to vote for all the people that are up, right? That's the way it's supposed to work, right?
Doesn't,
Well,
you,
yeah.
you actually do the installation, don't you? You're, new members?
Do what, right now?
Right here, yeah.
That's
Right
not
now.
any question whether it's supposed
This
to
is
be
the-
right now.
Well, no, I don't think so. I think we know who is interested, Meg, sort of. She can go both ways on her head, it's really quite interesting. Kevin, and then one more.
Right.
And we know that, well, I know that,
She's missing the question here.
who wants to be on it? Is willing to be.
Yeah,
on
that's
it.
what we're trying to determine, and Meg is willing, but she has to be a member. So we have to determine whether or not she can be a member down the road, or she can be
Can you
installed.
make the motion that she becomes a member of the council based on becoming a member?
Pending.
Good idea.
Condition on it.
And an existing member, on the council could serve temporarily,
Correct.
continue on temporarily
Yeah.
until replaced.
Okay, so Meg would be up for election, is what we're saying, but it would be pending her membership. Does that make sense to anybody? Everything okay that knows anything about the history of his church? I just don't wanna do anything, or that's wrong, so whatever.
It's maybe a first.
In our system, she could be made a member next Sunday.
Yeah, well, we'll figure that out, yeah, so we can do that pending. Hal, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I think you have to go through the proper steps.
You gotta make a
Right,
motion.
I
then.
agree, yeah, I just wanna make sure,
I
yeah.
don't wanna-
So if
There has to be a
if she's
motion.
voted in and she didn't become a member, then we'd have to find somebody after the fact. That probably won't happen, but, so are you comfortable, being a pending, okay. All right, so we have Kevin that's up.
Okay.
Meg is, up pending her membership. Now, Judy, or do you wanna,
I'm not gonna buck her.
you're not gonna what?
I'm not gonna buck her.
No, I'm not, remember, we have a 1-year slot and we have 2
No,
2-year
but
slots.
if she's up, then.
So you're not gonna
I
be up,
said if no one else
right,
would come forward, Mike was concerned about a woman being on. I told him, under much thought, I would stay on 1 more year.
there was danger that it'd be all men, you know, where that would go.
So isn't that your 1 year slot you're talking about?
Well, that could be, that's what we have to decide, I guess what she has to decide. Would you rather be up for 1 year, Meg, or 2 years?
Wherever I fit best. Just
Okay.
stick me where it's best.
Okay, alright, so,
So would you be getting off then?
I will stay on, that'll make 5 if Judy's not gonna do it.
We're gonna have 6 now.
Now, if Meg's voted on and, Kevin's voted on and I stay, we have still the requirement of 2 people leaving for 2 years and 1 person for 1 year.
How about the interim?
What about the interim?
Yeah, Judy, would you be willing to stay on as interim, member of the council until, May?
Till next week? Yeah.
It may not be next week. Meg, do you wanna
That's fine, I don't
contact your
care.
church and find out?
Next
if
week,
you
I'm
can
sure will be
She's
join?
a member of UCC already, so,
Well, I know, but she has a church to which
Yeah.
she belongs.
I understand.
And you wouldn't wanna lose that membership, is my understanding.
That is my family home church. I'm
Yeah.
not giving that up.
Yeah,
But if I can
so-
take on
okay,
this, that's
okay.
fine.
So, we have Kevin, we have Meg pending, I'll stay, we have Jim and, David. Huh?
Yeah, just, we don't have to be voted on, but you.
You don't have to be voted on, I'm just counting, to make sure
Even
that
you
we have.
have to be. voted
So now we have to,
I move that we appoint, or we appoint the new members on as you indicated.
any other, discussion, input? Anybody
Second
else?
if it's needed.
Pardon me?
I second that if it's needed.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, thank you. So we also have to authorize, and we need a vote for this as well, the church council to designate 2 delegates to go to the Minnesota Annual Conference meeting.
Oftentimes we wait until closer to the time because people, the meeting is on the 7th and 8th, I think, of June.
Yep,
And, it's gonna be 2 days, 1 night. I'm sure it'll be wonderful, cause it usually is, and they get a really good speaker. But if, you don't have,
well, this is just giving us authorization as a council
right,
to get people to go, and it takes time to check it out.
But is part of it, it costs money, right? So is the
Yes.
church paying that cost in this motion, or is it just?
That's not what it says on the
Okay.
agenda, so, I think we paid in the past, though.
I think in the past, it's just been a matter of, instead of trying to ask right now, okay, who here wants to go in June, whatever, not making you have to make that decision now, that as a council, if you come to us in the next couple months and say, I wanna do that, or we come to you, would you, would you do that? Then we can authorize that at that time instead of doing it at a vote right now. Is that right?
I make a motion to have the council be available to appoint 2 people to.
Have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Any other questions, comments, inputs? Peaches you wanna throw up here? Anything? What's that? All right, how about a motion to adjourn then? Cause we can have French toast if we do that. Second? All right. All in favor? All done, thank you. 10:51. 10:51, thank you. That's my, I'll turn it off.